Wait, is that her? Oh, fuck, she looks good this time. Who am I kidding? She looks amazing every time, but this look suits her. It's a nice hair color. Really fits her personality. I didn't expect to find her this soon. Last time I didn't meet her until I was almost 50, but the big question is, does she remember me? Well, only one way to find out. Hey, I'm Cardlin. Yeah, it's nice to meet you too. She doesn't remember. Is it okay if I sit with you? The cafe is getting pretty crowded. Thank you. God, it's always so weird to see her for the first time when she doesn't remember me. I should ask her if it's as awkward for her when I don't remember her. I never know what to say to her. What? Sorry, I didn't mean to stare. This may sound weird, but it feels like I've met you before. Smooth, Cardlin. She's going to think you're a creep and probably get a restraining order because that's a thing that can happen now. And you'll have to live without her for another lifetime. You feel the same way? That's a relief. I was starting to feel like a real weirdo. Yeah, I'm sure we haven't met before. Sometimes people just naturally click, I suppose. Would she believe me if I just told her? I mean, she didn't last time, but, well, different time, different circumstances, I guess. Hey, do you believe in soulmates? No, this isn't some bad pickup line. I'm genuinely curious. Yeah, I believe in them too. I don't believe they exist. I know that they exist. Okay, here goes nothing. Okay, this is going to sound absolutely crazy, and I don't know how to explain this in a way that makes it any less weird, so please just hear me out. We are soulmates, and we have been for millennia, in fact. I know, that doesn't sound logical, but please, just let me explain. Sometimes people are born that are destined to be together. So much so, in fact, that one lifetime simply isn't enough. So the next time they're born, they find each other, live their life together, and die, and then it all starts over again. Different time, different bodies, same people. Does that sound at least slightly logical? Okay, good. The problem is that we don't always remember, or, as the case this time, I remember, but you don't. Even when we do both remember, it can take a long time to find each other. Maybe it'll be a bit easier in the future. I mean, with the internet and all, we can just keep the same email address or Facebook or whatever and message each other when we get reborn so we can swap addresses. I probably should have thought about this last time, except it wouldn't have worked since you don't remember and wouldn't be able to log in and read my messages, and I am rambling. She definitely thinks I'm crazy. God, I hope she doesn't leave yet. If she just stays here long enough for me to explain, maybe I can convince her that I'm telling the truth and that I'm not just crazy. Yeah, of course you can ask me something. You can ask me anything. How do I know it's you when you look different every time? Well, it's a bit difficult to explain, but when I look at you, I don't just see you. I see all the versions of you that I've known before. It's always nice to see you for the first time because I get to see what's different and what stayed the same. What stayed the same? Well, your hair is the same color as it was 4, maybe 5 lifetimes ago. You're a bit shorter than last time. Yeah, but I especially like your eyes. They are the same color as our very first lifetime together. I always like it when you look like that. Well, I like the way you look every time, but I do have some favorites, of course, just like you. You told me a few lifetimes ago you like me with curly hair, and that you like me most with brown eyes, even though you don't like brown eyes that much in general. And you also said I look cool with tattoos and piercings, even though, and I quote, I still look like a complete nerd. What do I like? Well, I think you always look cute with dimples or freckles. Green eyes always look good on you, and I like it when you're taller than me because it makes you very comfortable to hug. Glasses are always cute, mostly because I have to hold your hand when you're not wearing them to avoid you walking into a tree. But most of all, your smile, no matter what it looks like. Sorry, this must be a lot to take in. Do you need some time to think about it? No. Okay. Do you believe me? Please. I can't lose you so soon after I met you. I know you don't remember everything, but please, please, please remember enough to know it's true. I mean, even when we don't remember what we are, we still feel different when we meet each other. Almost like we know we belong together. You believe me? Really? Sorry, I'm just really glad I found you. It can take a lot of time sometimes to find each other. You want to know more about our past lives? Okay, well, there was this one time, I think 7 lifetimes ago, when you were a pirate. Yes, I'm serious. It was one of our more, let's say, interesting lives. We met when you and the rest of your crew were visiting my town. You were incredibly drunk and stumbled into my house. Luckily, we both knew that time, and I let you stay the night while you just kept drunkenly rambling about how ugly my hair looked and how you would cut it off while I slept if I didn't do it myself, and that with long hair I looked like a rich lady's dog. Yes, I know, you can be a real charmer sometimes. The next day, you apologized, of course, and asked me to join you. Me, being the lovesick fool that I am, said that I would follow you everywhere, and then proceeded to throw up for a week straight because I was so seasick. Yes, I am a bit stupid sometimes, but it was a lot of fun. Well, after the first few days it was. It was one of our shorter lives. Pirates don't usually live to grow old, but our lives were full of adventures. Sailing the 7 seas, plundering ships and cities, fighting just to live another day. Plus, you look really good with tattoos and a big hat. She's laughing. God, I would do anything to make her laugh. I can't believe she actually believes me. She seems to like me, which isn't a guarantee when she doesn't remember, but she hasn't run away yet, at least. You want me to tell you of another time? Well, there was this one time I was a knight, and you were the prettiest maiden in the whole country. I didn't remember you that time, but you remembered me. You didn't tell me about this soulmate thing, but I fell in love with you anyway. We met when I was traveling through your village. Since your family owned an inn, and I stayed there for a few days, every night during dinner you would come sit with me and ask me to tell you stories about the places I'd been, a bit like me telling you about our past lives now. So, every night I would talk to you, all the while falling more and more in love with you. After a week, the weather cleared up enough for me to continue traveling, but I was heartbroken and terrified I wouldn't see you again. You made me promise that after I was done fighting, I would come visit you again. But I was distracted that whole time, more preoccupied with thoughts about you than, not dying. Nearly lost my head a few times because I kept thinking what it would be like to kiss you instead of focusing on my enemies. When I came back to you, I immediately asked for your father's permission to marry you. You were happily married for years. I left off in that life, fighting in whatever war needed soldiers and were willing to pay me. That's how it ended, in fact. Me coming home incredibly injured. You were sad, but you held my hand and said you would see me soon. I thought at the time you meant heaven or even just saying it to comfort me, but when we got reborn and I remembered what had happened, I always like the lifetime after one where either I or we both don't know. Knowing that we fell in love even without knowing we were together. Well, usually. What? Oh, yeah, sorry, just remembering some less than optimal lifetimes. You want to know about them? Well, sometimes we don't get together. Distance and timing keep us from being together sometimes. There was one time you were a princess and I was a gardener. We both knew that time, but we tried to convince ourselves it wasn't true. We knew we couldn't be together, but that didn't mean we didn't want to be. We thought if we pretended it wasn't true, it wouldn't hurt us as much. That we could just pretend the other didn't exist or we didn't know each other. The thing is that we are meant to be together. And after months of trying to stop ourselves, we couldn't hold back anymore. It was okay for a few months. No one knew, and we would sneak around in secret. Every day I'd bring you flowers, and you would write me poems and stories. But we couldn't keep it a secret forever. And your father found out and had me executed for fooling around with his daughter. While dying isn't quite as scary when you know you'll be reborn again, it still isn't fun. And that was one of the more unpleasant ways to go. She looks sad. Like she can remember just a little bit of it. God, I don't want her to be sad. I want to make her happy. But for every lifetime we aren't together, there are multiple happy lives. There was this one time where I was a magician. Yes, I know, I am the dramatic type to have that kind of job. I met you during one of my shows. I remembered, you didn't. I remember the way you looked during every trick like a little kid who had just gotten a gift. wide-eyed, mouth open, just a tiny bit in amazement. When I needed a volunteer, I picked you, of course. You looked both terrified and overjoyed. After the show was over, I asked if you wanted to see some tricks that I was working on and hadn't perfected yet. It may have been a bit of a white lie. By then I knew those tricks by heart, but I wanted to show you, and just you. I thought it was so cute that you refused to let me tell you how it worked, because as long as you didn't know how I did it, you could pretend it was actual magic. I saw you every day at my show for almost 2 weeks straight until the circus I was with continued traveling. I asked you to come with me and become my assistant. I half expected you to refuse, and if you had, I probably would have dropped everything just so I could stay with you. But you said yes. And you ran away with me. God, your parents hated me. In their eyes, I was that asshole who stole their little girl away. To the circus, no less. We did return a few years later, but I don't think they really forgave me. But those years, those years were some of my overall favorites. Seeing the way you looked during every show, even during tricks you'd seen hundreds of times before, made my heart speed up. And, just between the two of us, seeing you in that assistant outfit made my heart speed up just as much as your smile. Maybe even a little bit more. And now, after all these lifetimes, we are back to another beginning. And I get to meet another version of you. I honestly don't really know how to go from here. I never really know how to start over, especially when you don't remember, since we can't really continue from where we left off. It's a bit like seeing a friend you haven't seen in months. It takes a bit of time to go back to how it was and get past the awkward phase. But maybe we can start with dinner? How about next Sunday? Perfect. Would we call it a first date? I mean, we are just meeting again for the first time.